Okay, we should be live.
What up, guys? Coach Jimmy here, Tech Talk. I'm here today with my buddy Nate.
What's up, man?
Dude, so we was talking about like setting all this stuff up. He's been helping me since like early yesterday to get the Coach Jimmy channel back up and running where it's not skipping, and I had all kind of stuff set wrong on it, so it was like starting, stopping. The settings and stuff on there was like had an extra zero on my K-bit rate or whatever it's called. What was it called?
You're a bit late. You were streaming at like 450,000
instead of 4,500.
Yeah,
but I think we switched it to 55.
Yeah, we did. It should be good now.
Now we got it. Anyway, so he's been helping me with that. We shot some new ads today. We shot some reels. He's been teaching me a lot about the tricks of the trade. I'm very good at making sure I got the best equipment and like have the right setups and stuff, and I try to learn about them. But learning from someone who's been doing it versus and just having somebody there to talk to instead of trying to figure it out by trial and error, it seems like it's a lot faster to just ask somebody that knows and get them to say, push this button or set this here. And we're going to try to bring our jingle back, which is what I was just talking about.
Yeah, tell me about the jingle, man. You kind of hit on it for a second, but then we had to hit some buttons. So.
Yeah, dude. So when I first met Zach Carey, we were here and we were gonna record an intro video for the YouTube channel, for our original YouTube channel, the Tect Center.
Yeah. To
like let people in the world know about the place, so they could just have a video to kind of see what we're doing and like what we're looking up to and all that stuff. So we were recording. I was wearing some like cut off sweatpants. So they were shorts. There was like, it was horrendous. It was horrible. But so I'm like trying to make that look cool, which you can't. You can't make cut off sweatpants look cool.
Lost
cause. And we were trying to record and I was laughing. I'm like, I'm too uncomfortable because I didn't bring any clothes. Yeah. And at the time, all I had was training gear, but I didn't want to wear training gear because I train in compression shorts and compression shirt. I don't wear fighter shorts. I don't wear I got spats now. I'm getting into spats, but I've always wore like wrestler singlets and rash guards or like compression shorts with rash guards. Like that's how I always trained. And I had fighter shorts early on.
Yeah.
But I didn't like them. They always they always rub me, like my toes and stuff. People's toes would get caught in them. I just hated it. So I like having the tight fitting. So anyway, I got off subject. All I had was that and those shorts. And my buddy Chase was like, let's record this video because I'm going to be gone the weekend. Let's go ahead and record it. I was like, well, I didn't bring anything. He was like, oh, you'll be fine. So I was already uncomfortable. Was trying to do it, couldn't get it out, couldn't say what I needed to say in front of the camera. And Chase was like, Zach was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And he was like, I don't want to get in a frame. And I was like, dude, just hurry up. And he come running by me.
Yeah.
And I yelled, run, like real loud. And then you can hear his feet chopping. Top. And Chase put that in the video.
Yeah.
As our intro video, it started out, it says run. Then you can hear Zach's feet and see Zach running across the thing. And then he played some music, run like a Hellcat. And it was like, and I was like, that's our jingle forever. And I haven't used it in a while because I want to just, instead of having the video, I just want to have the sound and have it on a button.
There you go.
But
hey, shout out to Wyatt. He told us yo in the chat. So I just want to say he's been helping us out today too. He kind of slipped out before we
went live.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dipped on us. But he wanted to get home to watch the UFC fight.
Dude, that's not as good as this. I don't know why.
I don't understand. I would much rather hang out with me.
I would too. I mean,
Nate.
myself is my best company. So
Nah, but yeah, he helped us out at tremendous, and he is gonna surprise a lot of people. He is working on his own system, his entries and stuff. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want a bunch of other people pick it up and then take credit for something that he's building.
yeah.
But man, I'm telling you, that system that he's building right now is gonna be it's gonna be awesome. And when everybody starts seeing it, and you're gonna see all these other people doing it, I'm just gonna call him trendsetter. I'm just gonna be like, "What's up, trendsetter?"
Yeah.
Because that it's gonna start a trend. I promise. I'm excited to watch him at the PGF.
Dude, I was fortunate enough to see some of it, you know, in passing, doing the videos and stuff. And man, it's next level stuff. I ain't gonna kind of dwell on it or anything, but it's legit.
I'm telling y'all, it's not like super mind blowing. Like when you think about it, it's like, man, why didn't I think about that? Because it's simple stuff that works, and like for real, I think about jiu-jitsu a lot, and I've been around it a long time. And when I think about jiu-jitsu, it's hard to show me something that like I haven't seen.
Know. Yeah.
And I think like my last big leap in jiu-jitsu, like real big leap, was understanding that all of the stuff you do standing works when somebody's on their knees or they're sitting in front of you too. Like your wrestling and stuff, it all works. And that the same way. Because you got to change it a little bit, but it works the same. And then top is bottom, bottom is top. It's like it's all relevant. It's all the same. So like those are my last like real big leaps and bounds. Is like when you start thinking about what you can do from the top position, you can also do from the bottom position. It just changes.
Somebody said that. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to credit somebody else, but it was like rolling in space, like top and bottom just don't matter.
Yeah, I don't know who said that, but I heard it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you where I learned it. I was at my friend's Brian Brown's. We was at 10th Planet Jacks, and Nathan Orchard was talking, and he said, I hope I don't misquote him, but I think he said, when people ask him, what you working on, top or bottom? He said, my response is, what's the difference?
What's the difference?
And man, that hit me hard. I was like, oh shit, he's right. And you know, funny thing is I say things like that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so much so that like I'm teaching my kids like where focus goes, energy flows.
Yeah.
You hear these cliche things all the time, but when you really think about them, when you really break it down and think about them, yeah, you start having these other things that connect it, or these different thoughts about the thing you already knew. And then it's like, holy crap, I've been saying this for years, but I didn't completely understand it. And now you start understanding it in different ways, and it blows your mind even more. And
yeah, it surely does, man.
I think that's one thing that I enjoy about having Steven back. Is we were talking, it's like when you're coaching somebody and you tell somebody like, yeah, you gotta pay attention to this, you gotta do this, and they're like, I got it. And it's like, you don't got it. But you think you got it.
Yeah.
And you're doing the right thing, but you don't completely understand it yet. But you will. And it's so cool to watch that thought process take place in like what brand new white belts, and then your blue belts, and then the purple belts. Then no, you think you got it, but you don't got it. And then the purple belts, you're looking at them going, you think you understand, but you don't. And then when you do, it gets so deep, man. And it really is amazing how much smaller details start to matter at different levels.
Well, that just goes back to the old thing, like you don't know what you don't know. Like it's crazy how the levels just go, and it never ends, but you just don't know what you don't know.
Right. And that's the thing, is like you think you got it and you start finding success with it and stuff and you think you understand it, but then you learn something else about it and you go, holy shit, I don't know anything. I'm stupid, you know?
Well, you think you got it till you see somebody that does have it.
Yeah. And even then, it's funny, like if you told my 2015 self or even farther back than that, like, hey, you know, you don't really understand the hip heist or the hip bump, I'd have been like, dude, I do this every day. I teach it every day. I understand the hip heist. But then in like 2017, boom, something happened and big strong guy, and I did something to him and my hip heist worked. And I was like, this is a whole nother thing. Instead of coming up and like straight up and having people push you back down, curl out to the side, hug this way, and then like sit into their lap, and like that. There's a whole nother way to use it, not only to sweep, which I've always changed stuff off of it, but like the way you set it up to get in their lap is different now. And the way I teach it is, it's literally it's a whole other thing now.
Yeah.
And it's just funny like how much you change when you learn a new thing that you actually get. And I'm sure that other people probably teach it the way that I teach it.
Mm-hmm.
But usually when I see other people doing it, they're doing it the way I was doing it in 2015.
Yeah.
They're not doing it the way that I figured out that makes it way better.
Yeah.
And obviously there's people out there that probably have a way that's better than the way that I'm doing it at this particular time.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them wrong or me right, or them right and me wrong. It's just there's different ways and different things, and that's what we're talking about.
Dude, that goes back to, you know, the pre-podcast conversation we had shooting those videos, man, is there's a billion ways to do each individual thing, and dude, they all get to kill.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like argue which one's the best, but
Well, yeah, it's even hard to say it's wrong, right?
yeah, it's the best for you. Like
Yeah.
my best and your best probably completely different.
Yeah. And that was something else that we were talking about as far as that goes, is like, if your rear naked choke is across the face and mine's under the chin, but we both get the tap, like neither one of them's better or worse, right? It just works. Well, when you look at that, and when you look at it like that, like this is what's mind blowing to me, is that the mic in my front of my face.
Nah, man, Wyatt just hit the chat up. He said we need to reinvent celebrity deathmatch and call it Jimmy's War.
Yes, let's go. I'm down. I'll have every Georgia school owner in that thing, and we'll got to make Steven miniature though. So if Steven ever watches this, I'm making him miniature. He's gonna be my size, and I'm gonna be Steven's size. That's the only difference. We got to swap sizes. I'm just kidding, but nah, dude. What I was saying before I was so interrupted. I'm just kidding. Nah, dude, is when you think about it the way that we were talking about it, as far as I'm trying to find my whole thought process again, because what we were talking about was the differences in moves and like right or wrong, or being right or wrong.
Yeah.
If a white belt comes in,
Yeah.
I can do some dumb shit that shouldn't work,
But it does to him.
but it probably will work because I've been grappling long enough and I have an understanding enough to make it work against someone who's untrained.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean the move's wrong? Well, it's working. But the move won't work in the way that it's working against a white belt when someone else understands grappling or training. But that brings the question, is it wrong? If it doesn't work at a high level, is the move wrong? And I don't think so. I think it just has its place. And I think that you have to know, or get skilled enough to know when you can try that bullshit or not. Does that make sense?
I think that's the deciding factor on that, is if you know that it won't with only a certain people. Like if you think you're fitting to win the ADCC with some flying something you can catch a white belt on, you know, you may need to reinvent your thought process. But if you know it's just something for the highlights that you can catch the new guy with, it's legit to him,
dude.
You know,
and the buggy choke's a prime example.
yeah,
The buggy choke is a prime example because everybody it's like the fly trap, the buggy choke. Everybody's like, oh, it's gimmicky. Once you get hit with it one time, you don't get hit with it again. How many was it? 13?
yeah.
It was 13, and one person got slammed. Everybody else got choked out. So, like, and everybody discounted it. They were like, oh, that didn't work at this and that, this and that. It's like, no, it don't work for you.
Yeah.
But some of these dudes out here, that's their game. Like, they look for that. They want you to pass in a certain way so that they could just lock that up on you because they know that they can get it. And which now I'm pretty sure everybody knows it's a pretty legit move. But again, at some point, that would never have worked on higher belts because it wasn't perfected enough for them to figure out how to get the choke. But then when people started figuring it out, it started working at a higher level because they had a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
But you still have people saying, oh, there was 13 chokes done. One person got slammed, and everybody in the comments was like, that's why you don't do that right there, because you can get slammed. That's why you don't do that. It's like, really, dude?
You just let go.
Like, just let go.
You just let go.
Yeah, just let go.
But do you think that that's kind of a deciding factor or a variable in the evolution of the jiu-jitsu? Because you got those same guys that said buggy chokes are not legit, 20 years ago was saying leg locks don't work. I mean, is that part of the game, or is that just something you see come and go with the time?
It's funny. I've watched leg locks come in, fade out, come in. Now that I think that they were like, you're not supposed to do that. It's cheap. I heard all that stuff early on, but then Dean Lister come in, murking everybody with leg locks, and I was like, it's a sambo guy, like smashing people's legs. He's cheating. It's like, no, I don't think it's cheating. He got the submission, right?
Yeah.
Well, then everybody badmouthed him, and nobody was wanting to learn them. Oh, you could have surgery on your knee, and it costs a lot of money. And like, yeah, but your shoulder. You're Kimuran people, and your shoulder has more movement, and it's harder to work on than your knee.
Yeah.
And you're fine with tugging on that. It's like, I think you just don't understand them.
Yeah.
But I think that, to answer the question, I think that it does tend to make its rounds. Like, you have pressure. Well, how do you beat pressure? Well, you got these guys that are like have really good guards, really good at lifting the hips and stuff like that. But floating beats the guys that are breaking posture and like doing that. But then floating gets you leg locked.
Yeah.
Well, pressure beats those guys that are good at lifting you and stuff and getting underneath you.
Yeah.
And it just makes a circle. It's like pressure passing, floating, leg locks, pressure passing. Because pressure passing is killing the leg lock game.
Locks, yeah.
And so you've seen it make that circle a couple of times through the years. And it's just funny to watch how it affects every year. And like this year it was the buggy choke. Well, now somebody's going to counter that. And you're going to see somebody start doing something else.
Yeah.
It's going to get popular. And then you're going to see a lot of those at the next competition, whatever it is. It could be, the Jimmy Dean Atina, which everybody's calling a friggin' coat hanger choke. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. But, like, you're going to see that make its rounds. And then you're going to see, all this stuff. And I do think it's evolving.
Yeah.
But I think that the more advanced we get, the more the basics will work. I think the farther you get away from something, it's going to make its loop back around to the basics, to the basic things. And I think that's why it's awesome is it keeps the checks and balances it keeps you pretty honest with what you can do. Because if people start getting flashy and start doing all this other stuff, you go back to your pressure, or you go back to your stapling the knee and your basic like head position and all that stuff, then a lot of that other stuff's not working. And I think it's just a trend. People start getting this flash stuff. That basic stuff stops working the way that it was working. So they start doing more flashy stuff and they start getting away.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you come back around to it, like this didn't work last time, but now it'll work because they're doing this dumb shit over here or good shit, whatever. I just think it makes its rounds anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking too. Like you almost need both, really, like or at least a functional understanding of both. Like whether it's in your game or not, maybe not, but you need to kind of have it on lock.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I think that as far as jiu-jitsu goes, I think that you need to constantly be learning, constantly trying to evolve. I think the guys staying in their little ponds, being the big fish in a little pond, they're doing a disservice to their people.
I believe so too, man.
And
that's anything though. Like the old saying is, if you don't grow, you die. There's no staying happy now. Like you got to go one way or the other. And I believe if you're not constantly trying to better it, you're doing a disservice to yourself in whatever application you put. Not just jiu-jitsu, but especially jiu-jitsu. But I mean, you can apply it to whatever you want to.
I agree 100%, man. I think that you're doing it especially if you're a coach.
Yeah.
If you're a coach and you're just like, I know how to do it. I know how to do a knee slide. And you're like knee sliding and you're doing all this stuff and you're not trying to evolve, you're hurting your students.
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't let my kid or my students cross train and this or whatever. It's like, man, you're hurting them. You're hurting your gym. I want my guys to go cross train. I'm happy because I know for a fact that when my guys go cross train, like they're loyal. They're gonna come back and they're gonna share and they're gonna do what they're doing and they're gonna share it with somebody else on the mat, and we're gonna grow faster. Because if the only time we ever see that other person's stuff is at competition, then that stuff is probably gonna beat us. Is probably gonna learn a hard lesson.
Yeah.
Then they got to come back and work on that, and by that time, the person they're doing something else, and we never get to see it. But if you're cross training and you're doing all this other stuff and you're bringing it back and you're working hard and then your coaches is cross training and just doing all that, like you get better.
You do.
And if you're getting better like that, like it's progressing faster.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're being that big fish in a little pond and holding your people back intentionally or sharing them, this is one that bothers me. Sharing your made up bullshit. And I don't mean like, oh, they're watering down jiu-jitsu or whatever. I mean like, in theory, this jiu-jitsu move looks like it works.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. And like, in theory, I could just do this and grab his neck and do all this. And like, you give this long, drawn-out thing. I'm like, dude, you're starting to get a little close to Kung Fu now. Like, nobody's just going to sit there and let you do this to them. And I've seen that. And over the years, I've seen where people are like, yeah, I pull and then I shoot and then I pull this in and then I turn my body and then I wipe this arm across and then I do that. It's like, no, dude. Like, do you know the amount of control that you got to grab somebody's hand and like physically move it and you're not positioning yourself behind the elbow. You're not doing this. Like, this is fairy tale land. Nobody's going to be there that long. And I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing a lot of places that don't battle test their jiu-jitsu and they're just teaching bullshit that in theory works, but it don't. It in theory, and
who knows?
In a perfect world, it will work, and it might work on this one white belt or this one person, unsuspecting person that wasn't ready or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like there's a way better way, and there's a smarter like path to make it work in battle or in combat or, at a tournament, whatever you want to call it. I won't necessarily call it battle.
Yeah.
Competition. Competition.
Well, going back to your cross training argument, that gives you a quote unquote safe way to battle test all your stuff because, I mean, even if me and you, like if all we ever done was go with each other, spar with each other, I'm gonna know how you react to it, and I can play off of that. And in fairy tale land, we got you. But if you don't ever go out and test it up the street, is it effective? Are you good? Who knows?
Yeah, and I see that happening with
Yeah.
main training partners all the time. They start learning each other, and they build a set of attacks off of the things that they do.
Mhm.
But then when somebody throws a monkey wrench and don't do what that person does, it's like, oh shit, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. What do you do then?
Yeah. And I think that's one reason I'm really liking like the sub only style tournaments. That's one reason I'm liking the PGF. That like those style tournaments, like 100%, because now we're not worried about points.
Yeah.
We're not worried about like, oh, I lost the position of his foot, so now I'm losing by 2. It's like, no, I get to really display my real jiu-jitsu. I get to display like what I'm good at, and you get to try what you're good at, and we get to see who's gonna catch who or who's gonna get the kill or the break.
Yeah.
And I'm really digging these styles of tournaments because of that, because it allows people to grow with their jiu-jitsu. But pull it back to what we were talking about with cross training. You get to kind of do that stuff in a controlled environment enough so that the other person don't want to lose.
Yeah.
So you get to see if your shit really works.
Yeah.
And if you're not cross training, you just got to take my word on it. Like, trust me, this works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I competed in 1974 in a taekwondo tournament. So this definitely works for jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Like 100%. Because I got a black belt in taekwondo, and I got a black belt in kickboxing, and I got a black belt in Muay Thai, so
Yeah.
like, yeah. So this definitely works in jiu-jitsu. And just so you guys don't know the joke, I've had people literally message me and tell me there was a black belt in kickboxing and a black belt in Muay Thai. Like, for real. They come in and tell, like, they message the page, I'm a black belt in Muay Thai. I'm like, shit, I didn't even know they gave belts. Like,
where'd you get it? Like the internet?
Yeah. My hands are registered, cuz I can't tell you.
Yeah, lethal.
Yeah, and when somebody smacks me, I see red, and everybody dies.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Bodies just everywhere.
Bodies everywhere. The last time it happened, I had to move states.
Shoot, I was thinking countries, man. You got to get
states.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it wasn't that bad.
I was so fast, you can't really see my face. So it was red.
Oh, man.
Nah, man. So let's talk about Nate for a second, man. This dude come down here, hooked up my podcast, hooked up my Coach Jimmy channel. We sat down. We got some camera settings. We changed it to Vivid. Obviously, that was no brainer. We switched everything from 4K to 1080 because it takes a lot to upload 4K, and you can't even upload 4K while you're streaming. Anyway, to Twitch or Facebook or anything. So we got all that stuff squared away.
Yeah.
Man, help me with the ads. We got some cool little reels, but check out the logo.
I was wondering how long we was gonna go because the people seeing it between our faces the whole time. So like, tell them about this logo, man.
Dude, I messaged Nate like it was maybe 2 weeks ago.
Something like that.
Yeah, I messaged him and I was like, dude, I want to redo my logo, but I want to kind of keep what I got. And I was like, I want something for SMI. For you guys that don't know what SMI is, it's my tournament.
Tell them about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sub-only tournament that is for kids. And it's 18 and under. We usually do a teens division, which we don't really manage it by age, but I'll tell you, like, hey, we got some like 17-year-olds in this division. You might not want your 12-year-old kid in there. But we mostly do it by weight. And like we try to make sure the ages are within 2 or 3 years of each other. But I don't care enough about that to like put it out there like that. But if I have some older kids, I'll tell the people before they sign up that there's some older kids.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be as honest as I can about that. But anyway, we match the kids up. Then we do 2 kids divisions. Like this time it's 70 and under, and then 90 to 110.
Okay.
And I just want the best kids in the world. It's sub only, EBI overtime, 6 minutes, then EBI overtime. The winner of the tournament takes all the entry fees. Like the school keeps absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And then we have sponsors. So if you guys are interested in sponsoring the SMI, we need sponsors for match of the night, submission of the day, and kid of the day. Because sometimes kids go out there and they just put out a heck of a show, but they just can't pull it off. And I would like to do something like that to let them know, like, hey, we seen your effort and what you try. Because sometimes kids need a morale boost anyway. But so we need sponsorships for those 3 spots. I think we have one sponsorship, which is well, dang, I can't even think of who our sponsor is right now. Bearden's Chiropractic Care. He's the only guy in town that can straighten a preacher out.
There you go.
But yeah, Bearden's Chiropractic Care right here in Eastman, Georgia. He actually helps all of our competitors and stuff, and like he sees them regularly. He is like our school doctor, so to speak. He does X-rays. He actually does measurements to see how far out of line you are and how much you need to move. Or he sent me to have an MRI because my back. Mm-hmm. And then I had to get a contrasted MRI so you could see the disc and stuff. But he's the guy that initially found everything and did everything, and then I had to go see the surgeon. But anyway, Bearden Chiropractic Care is going to be our first sponsor. A few other guys are interested in sponsoring the SMI. Hit us up. So back to the SMI. Sub only, EBI rules, 6-minute matches. And if we do up to 8 in each division. If there's 8 people, that's $800 scholarship that your kid will get towards the school that they train at. If there's 5 people in there, it's a $500 scholarship towards the school that they train at, because it's $100 per person. Yeah. And the school, we don't take any of the money. This is for all the competitors. This is for the kid competitors that are trying to make a name for themselves, and it gets them used to the tournament style of the PGF, gets them used to the tournament style of the EBI. That's why it is the way that it is. And eventually, I want to build up cards for the kids, because I want to build up certain competitors and stuff like that, and have like the champion from this weight class and that. And I want to build it up to where these kids are getting some real recognition right out of the gate. That's my dream for this. Yeah. And I want to get to the point to where we're going and holding it at different academies and bringing our streaming gear, our mini computer with our streaming gear, streaming the trials. Yeah. And then bringing the winners and the ones that we think would be good fit. Yeah. Bringing them back here, and then running the kids and like making it a 2-day event or something.
Heck yeah, almost like a qualifiers and on a PGF style.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah. And it's for kids.
Yeah, for kids.
Because at my school, when I first opened it, for the first 2-3 years, we were a kids school. Yeah. Like I had adults, but our adult programs didn't grow very well. But our kids program was booming. And I actually put together, which is something else I'm doing right now. So if you guys are interested, you want that early bird price, hit me up if you want some coaching to learn how to grow your kids program. Because I'm putting together a course to teach you how to build a profitable kids program that is actually building competitors. Because we can make competitors, we can turn kids into competitors, but that's not the goal. We turn them into good humans and leaders too. Yeah. So if you're interested in learning how to do this in the process, hit me up, because I'm in the middle of building it right now. If you want that early bird special, I'm telling you right now, if you run a school, if you own a school and you want to start a kids program, you need to reach out to me about this, because this is game changing for a lot of schools.
Yeah, that stuff's gonna be legit, guys. It's gonna be. Coach Jimmy knows what he's doing with the kids, man. Some of that stuff I've seen it's legit.
And even now, like we have just as many adults now as we do kids. Yeah. And I've been focusing on trying to build adults. And it's been hard for me to advertise to adults, because I really don't know what to say to adults to get them through the door. It's like you got to get them out of their everyday rhythm, routine. and like get them off the couch to get them to walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
But that one I've never even advertised adults or anything. And dude, our adult program's growing. I think I have like the way that I set my school up and our culture up. I think that we've weeded out some of the things that we need, or we figured out some of the things that we needed to figure out to make sure that I have the type of culture that I want. And now it's really bleeding over into the adults, and adults is just growing through osmosis. Like
dude, that's legit.
It's just picking up because of like it's such a good place, and parents are here and they're like, oh, I want to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing just from that, word of mouth and stuff. So,
well, dude, a lot of people, like, if you're not in it or you're not kind of as hooked up into jiu-jitsu or whatever kind of community, like you don't really realize the value of a good school environment. Like, dude, because dude, you get so much more than just, jiu-jitsu from a jiu-jitsu school, if that makes sense. You get that, dude, it's a list of stuff that the benefits of jiu-jitsu and having that community. And dude, people don't get that from the outside looking in, till they get through the door.
Yeah, they don't see the value.
They don't
until they actually get here. And people see the value immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But the long-term people start seeing the value, like they start appreciating the value and how much it's done for their kid even more. But I would say to really see some results, I would say like 3 months to 4 months is when you start seeing a big change. Like you see a change immediately within the first week because they're excited.
Yeah.
But then it kind of levels off, and in 3 to 4 months you see like, oh, if you're paying attention, because it'll sneak up on you. Yeah. And then you realize like, dang, I got a completely different kid or a completely different person in here that's like respectful and like doing stuff, and they're feeling bad about when they pop off or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to watch these kids and the influence. And like, one of the things I say all the time is every single decision that you're making right now is shaping your future.
I like that.
Well,
that's legit, man.
Yeah, well, think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, if I said right here to everyone right now, if you could go back in time, what would you change?
Yeah.
Everybody, they immediately think, and they go to think of one time in their life. It's like one day or one time in their life, and they say, oh, I wouldn't have said that, or I wouldn't have done that, or I wouldn't have acted this way.
One moment.
Yeah, it's a moment. And then that's how they think about it. They'll go back and say, yeah, well, I would have done that differently. Or maybe it was something simple, like I would have wrestled in high school. Whatever. It's one thing.
It's one thing.
It's one thing that they would change, but they never stop to think, I'm the youngest that I'm ever going to be right now, and the decisions that I make today are going to shape my future 5 years from now, 6 years from now. If you don't show up to class, if you join jiu-jitsu and then you don't show up to class, in 6 months when the person that joined around the same time to you is kicking your ass, you're going to wish you showed up to class more.
Yeah.
Well, now you're discouraged, and the dude that you used to beat's kicking your ass. And now you're discouraged, and you now you don't want to come anymore, but you want to come, you want to get better, but you don't want to lose. So you end up like beating yourself up and losing. And it's like, now you're not coming because you're discouraged, but you're making the same damn decision that you made 6 months ago that caused you not to be good now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. Think about your future.
Yeah, you're living in the moment that future you would go back and change. Like that's what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every decision that you make right now is shaping your future. And we teach the kids that. We teach the adults that too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our 20-year-old and 30-year-old people, they need to hear it. Like, dude, like every decision, the people's going to treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. Like, I'm not going to allow anybody to treat me any type of way. Yeah. I'm just not. Like, you want to yell at me or scream at me? It's like, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to be that guy. And the reason that I'm that way is because it's just the way I grew up, right?
Yeah.
I dealt with people, and I've learned how to shut that emotional side of me off for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just nuts, dude. Like how people are locked down in this backwards way of thinking. And I call it backwards way of thinking because you don't know what you don't know
Yeah.
until you know.
Until you know it.
And then when you know it, a lot of times when it's presented to you in front of you, it goes against everything that you did know or that you felt, that you feel attached to in your core beliefs. And then it feels like an attack.
Yeah.
And when something feels like an attack that's different, you have an emotional response.
Mm.
When you have an emotional response to that, now you're not being logical. And when you're not being logical, you can't look at it with logic, so you don't hear what the person's trying to say to you. And
you filter that through the emotions instead of the logic part of you. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
we seen that, today, you see that all kinds of ways.
Yeah. And that's what blows my mind is like when you start jujitsu at a young age and you start even at an older age. Let's do away with the age because when you start jujitsu, it's a problem. You're getting your ass whooped by people half your size, and you got a puzzle. And now you got to emotionally realize like you got to have that emotional response. Like, okay, I'm not as tough as I thought I was. It's like, all right, so now let's look at it. I have two options. I can quit this and never experience that bad feeling again.
Yeah.
I don't have to come. Nobody's making me come. I can make excuses. I could say, hey, I don't have the money. Like whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I can just come up with any reasons. There's a million reasons not to.
Yeah.
The only reason to do it is because you want to. You want to better yourself, right? Or you can look at it and go, I need to get better. If this person who's half my size or whatever can do this to me or make me feel this way, I need to toughen up. I need to overcome this. I need to put in this work. You can say, I need to learn how to do this so that I don't feel that way again in the future. So like you have those two responses, but a lot of times people allow their ego to let them go, oh no, I got to protect this. I'm not ever going back. And it's funny, dude.
Well, you can't, that's one of those things. It's like you can't unring the bell. Like once you know that you ain't as tough as you thought, or you couldn't handle yourself like you thought you could, you can't just we take that back and put it back in there. Be like, no, I'm good. Like you know now, you know what you don't know.
And the funny thing is when you plant that doubt in people, it's funny how people respond, dude.
It is.
It's funny.
It is.
But let's tie all that back together because I kind of strayed off on the conversation. But when you make those daily decisions to better your life, when you're doing this twice a day or whatever, and you're trying to better your life, you start recognizing that jiu-jitsu thought process, that puzzle solving in other parts of your life.
You do. And
then you start thinking about things on an entirely different way. And it's because you're problem solving, right? You're getting better at solving problems. You're already done the hard part during the day. Jiu-jitsu is one of the hardest things you ever do.
Yeah.
It's the hard part. Everything else in life, to talking to people, communicating to people, looking people in the eye, like everything that you deal with during the day is easy. Because you just dealt with a guy that's 30 or 40 pounds heavier than you trying to choke you out for 5 minutes 10 times in a row.
Yes.
Like, so 5 minutes times 10, them trying to strangle you or arm lock you, like get the break or get the kill, the choke, and you get to tap out, do it again. Was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you learn how to overcome that, and then you start apply that thought process to the rest of your life, and you go, okay, failure is a part of the formula for success.
Yeah.
So how do I become successful through my daily actions? Okay, well, now I'm on this personal growth. Well, now, why am I allowing this person's thought process to bother me? Why am I doing this? And then you start problem solving your thought process and your emotions, and now you're starting to become a better person. But then, there's more. when you're a white belt and you start learning moves and you start getting it,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, I'm really getting this, and then you get awarded your blue belt. Now you got your blue belt, and now people are like, oh, he's a blue belt, and they're rolling harder with you.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you was doing, people got used to it, and now it's not working. So now you got to learn a new skill. Well, now we call this cycles in training, right?
Yeah.
Now you're at the beginning cycle of a new lesson. Well, anytime that you're at the beginning, you suck at it. So you start sucking at it. Like you start getting like you feel like you're sucking at it because you're trying new stuff you're trying to get better, right? Well, you're at the beginning. Well, you always suck at the beginning.
Yeah.
So now you suck. So now you start getting discouraged because nothing's working.
Mm-hmm.
You're at a new point, and now you got to overcome that struggle. And some people don't make it through that. That's why they call it the blue belt blues.
Yeah.
That's why they disappear. That's because now
You
it
don't
got
ever
hard
see
again.
'em again.
Yeah, they just start fading out into the ether. And it's because it got hard again.
Yeah.
Well, life's that way too. And it's like anytime you learn a new skill, you have to be willing to suck at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stick with jujitsu, which I hope all you guys do,
Yeah.
people listen, this is my biggest lesson to blue belts. And I have to say this speech all the time. It's like I go through cycles, and I've been doing this for 20 years. And anytime I start a new cycle, learning something, like I just made a transition to learning leg positions again,
Yeah.
focusing on the breaks again, trying to find the intricate details so that I can coach them again. I just started like really diving deep into it. Well, when I first started doing it, I sucked at them.
Yeah.
And then over a period of 3 months, that's all my focus is on. I get really good at them. But for the first 3 weeks, maybe 4, maybe the first month, I'm getting beat. People are tapping me out. I'm supposed to be the best in the room. I'm supposed to be coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting tapped out with them. And it's because I'm trying to focus on different entries and different things, and I'm putting myself at the beginning of this cycle. So I suck at it. Could I just go to my old stuff and start using it? Yeah, but I'm not getting better that way.
You're not growing that way.
So jiu-jitsu helps you understand that you're going to have cycles in your life where you suck. And anything's worth doing is worth doing right. So you're going to suck. Then you're going to start getting good. Well, guess what happens when I get really good at catching everybody and like catching everybody with leg locks and just doing it over and over. And I got really, really good at that. I'm like, all right. So I sucked. I figured it out. I was figuring it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out. Now I'm finding success with this. Now I'm going to focus on something else. And now I'm at the beginning of my cycle again. So I'm going to have a bad day. I'm going to have a bad couple of weeks or a bad couple of days until I figure out how to make this part of my game work. Well, a lot of times blue belts get to that point and they haven't figured out how to overcome their cycles yet or to grow through their cycles, and they quit. But if they stay with it, something beautiful happens. And that beauty is that they figure out how to problem solve things over a period of time. They start enjoying the journey instead of the reward of the belt or the reward of the tap out or whatever. But then that bleeds over into their regular life. And that's my long ass explanation of how jiu-jitsu changes your life and changes your thought process and starts making you a better person.
Yeah.
And then that cycle training goes through in your regular life. And now I'm dealing with it with personal growth. I didn't ever used to get upset or depressed with myself.
Yeah.
I blame other people. I would like, man, if they hadn't have done that, this would have been so good or whatever. I would go through those. But then I started recognizing that I was doing that, and I would try to take ownership. Well, now I'm like, man, shit, I suck. Now I'm telling myself I suck. And if you say it out loud, if you say I suck out loud, you start to believe it. And not only that, in 1 minute, you thought that thought 80 times before you ever said it.
Yeah.
So you said it to yourself 80 times before you spoke it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're literally breaking yourself down, but you don't realize the growth that you're having because your focus is on all the stuff you're doing wrong.
Yeah, man. When you said that, I wanted to interject because, dude, I love psychology and all that kind of
Me
stuff.
too.
You know that, we get into that sometimes, but dude, like for the people watching, you probably read it. Your mind don't know the difference. Like if that's why I tell people, I don't even self-deprecate as a joke. Like I don't even do that humor that some people do that puts themselves down as to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your mind can't tell the difference, dude, and it will affect your mind state. If you tell yourself, I suck, you will believe it, and that's where your focus will shift to the fact that you suck, even though that's a entity that you made up on your own just because you decided to. I mean, and you let yourself focus on that instead of whatever the other aspect of the situation would have been.
Yeah. And so that falls under the principles of life, right?
Yeah.
You got a couple of principles. Logic and reason cannot occupy the same space.
Yes.
Where focus goes, energy flows.
Yes.
So if I'm looking for something negative, I'm going to find it because
Hmm.
you'll find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for positive, I'm going to see positive. And for the kids, I always use the example, they got to clean their room, right? It's like, man, I got to clean my room. Well, if you're looking at it like a negative thing, then it is negative. But you could say, I get to clean my room. Hey, I actually have a bedroom to clean.
Yeah.
Like you could be grateful that you have a bedroom and that you have things that are in your bedroom that you have to clean up.
Yeah.
Because you could be on a couch or you could be sharing one room with 5 people or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I got to do the dishes. Well, you ate a
got
meal.
dishes. Yeah.
You got dishes. You got to actually eat a meal, bro. You got a
Yeah.
full stomach. Go clean the damn dishes, dude. Like, it's all about where your focus is, right?
Yeah.
And I teach that to the kids. And then failure is a part of the formula for success. No one just starts out successful. Look at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Like Tesla was almost bankrupt. Like literally when he was letting the Tesla 3 model
Yeah.
out, he went almost the company almost went bankrupt.
Yeah.
He slept on the floor in the office to let his guys know, like, I'm in this with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in this with you. I'm here. And like he was working with all these crews trying to get these systems to work and stuff. And he didn't know if he was going to make it.
Yeah.
And now he's literally the richest person in the world. So like, and he failed though. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like his rockets, it was the 4th rocket. And it was his last chance. It's like, if this one doesn't go to space, the company's gone.
Yeah.
And with SpaceX,
Yeah.
he had 3 rockets blow up and never even break the atmosphere. Like,
Yeah.
couldn't get them to break the atmosphere. Failure. And the 4th one made it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, now we got the science behind that. Let's figure out how to bring this bitch back and land it and fire it again.
Yeah.
And so I love the sayings, but it's principles. The logic and reason can't occupy the same space. If you're angry, you can't be logical. And
Yes.
it's actually a halt. Have you ever heard this? Halt.
Halt. Yeah.
HALT. You never make any life-changing decisions if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. So logic and reason cannot occupy the same space. Halt. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, that means you're emotional in one of these 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, you have to take care of that before you start making any life-changing things. So it's halt.
Halt.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah.
And you mean stop.
Yeah.
Stop doing what you're doing. Don't make this decision. Don't make a permanent decision based off of these temporary emotions and feelings.
Because they're fading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, where focus goes, energy flows. You got these people that are always happy. It's because they're focused on the good things in life.
Yeah.
You got people that are getting really, really good at jujitsu super fast. It's because they're focused on jujitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, a lot of people don't realize the power behind just focusing on something. Like,
Dude, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
but
you good.
I sat in a room with 6 billionaires,
Yeah.
like brainstorming, and I got to talk to them one by one. And I asked every one of them this question. I said, I said, how did you get where you are? And every single one of them said almost the same thing, almost the same exact thing. And it said, you have to learn how to focus on what you want. You have to learn how to, every single one of them said that in some sort of, like they said it in their own way, but they said one of them said you have to be able to control your attention and focus. You have to be able to drown out the noise and focus. And it's like, one of them said you have to be able to direct your attention to what you want. One of them said you have to be able to focus on what you want. One of them said you have to be able to drown out all the noise and actually dig deep and pay attention to what you want. And it's like they were all saying the same thing. Focus.
And was that separate or was that like all of them together?
That was separate.
Dude.
We were sitting like literally I sat down like we call it round table.
Yeah.
And you get in there and you get to talk to everybody about their gyms and what they're doing and how great they're growing and do all that stuff. And then you get to, like, you sit at this table and you talk to this person, and you get to sit at this table and talk to this person. And like you get to talk to the software people that made software and become billionaires that way. You get to talk to these people who made billions in stock trading. You get to talk to these people who done this. And every single one of them, when I asked the question, that it's basically you have to learn how to focus your attention. Drown out the noise. People will drag you down.
Yeah.
And people's drama will drag you down. If you give that energy, if you give that type of energy, somebody calls you, man, my husband killed my dog or whatever. I'm just making shit up. Nobody killed anybody's dog. But stop, don't call PETA. But like, I'm moving to Vegas or whatever.
Yeah.
And you start talking about that and giving that energy. Now you're not focused on what matters to you, on growing your business and growing your stuff. And now that's taken some of your brain power and your thought power that you should have been focused on doing what you're trying to do. And you cannot have all these fires going or all these different places that have your attention and still become successful on that level.
Yeah. I saw somewhere, and I wish I could credit it or whatever to who said it, but it was the same thing you said, but all it was it says focus is finite. Like you don't have an unlimited daily amount of energy that you can put on whatever. So like you said, if I'm spending it on all this negative stuff and all these other people drama, like it's not that I'm just doing that. I'm taking away from anything I got
what you're
going
trying
on.
to build.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a conversation that we had earlier.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite things to tell the kids and tell people. It's like when you're focused on other people's stuff, like you're not focused on yours. But let's just say I want the biggest building in Eastman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said this earlier, right?
Yeah,
if I want I want the biggest building in Eastman. I want my business to be the biggest one in Eastman. What makes more sense? For me to go down the street to Walmart and start tearing their building down? Start tearing down the school, start tearing down, Fred's or whatever, or to build my building bigger. Like, which one makes more sense? So if I'm focused on trying to tear everybody else's down to make mine the best, it's never going to be the best. It's because I'm not focusing on my building. But if I just focus on my building and building my building and building my army or whatever, it's going to grow. It's going to get bigger, and eventually I'm going to have the biggest building in Eastman if that's what I want.
If that's what you want.
Yeah, I don't want the biggest building. I want a Lamborghini.
There you go.
Not a real Lamborghini, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and they called a good working business that don't require a lot of effort a Lamborghini. That's what I want. Yeah. I want a business that gives me financial freedom to the point that I live the lifestyle that I want. My lifestyle is not a millionaire, not a billionaire's lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it is a very comfortable, I do what the fuck I want lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I think everybody wants that if they're honest with themselves. A lot of people won't. They'll come up with some PC answer, but if you're honest with yourself, you want the freedom. You don't want to put in the work to get it. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm focused so hard on building up my culture and my core values and stuff, so that I want everybody to live that way. I want everybody to be happy.
Yeah.
That's dude, if you've ever spent any amount of time with me, anybody has ever spent any amount of time with me, that's what I want. That's why I joke. That's why I teach about focus. That's why I don't like, that's why when everything's said and done, I teach you to take personal responsibility for what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
And I talk to you about your happiness. You're in control of it. And anybody that's ever been around me for the last 15 years knows that I say, take ownership for everything. Somebody slaps you in the face, you cannot control that.
Mm-mm.
Now, you could probably control what you did to make them want to slap you in the face, but that's another thing. But still, if they do, the only thing that you're in control of is your reaction.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody's screaming and yelling at you, the only thing that you're in control of is your reaction. When you're worrying about something and you want to get something done, write down everything that's going on in your life and then erase or scribble out everything that's outside of your control.
Yeah.
Whatever's left on that piece of paper, do that shit.
Yeah. Do something about it.
That's in your control. In the moment you do that, it's so freeing. You stop worrying about the things that are outside of your control. Listen, if you don't have the money to pay your friggin' light bill, let's talk about it. We're gonna get deep into this, and then I'm gonna let you talk some about it because I want to really hear your opinion about it. Let's talk about your light bill.
Yeah.
You don't have the money to pay it, right? Sit around worrying about, man, I don't know how to pay this light bill. God dang, I don't know how I'm gonna pay this light bill. This light bill's due. Man, my loan payment's due. I don't have this money. Fuck, I don't know. Oh man, I'm worried about it. I don't have the money. What can I do about it? Right now, saying that I don't have the money, saying that I can't pay it, putting that energy into worrying about it, it's not fixing a problem. That's out of my control right now.
Yeah.
The energy would be better spent trying to figure out what you can do right now.
You getting close to what I was fixing to say.
What was you gonna say?
Man, and what I like to do, I read it in a book somewhere, like a long time ago. But it said that to do basically the same thing you was talking about, but to change your I can'ts to how can I's. And
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, that was it. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I read the book.
Yeah, okay. It's been so long ago, I didn't want to call it.
I've read that book 3 times.
Dude, it's a good book.
It changed my life.
If you haven't looked at it, look it up. I mean, I think it's even on YouTube for free. Just get it. Listen to it, read it, take notes, whatever. But, dude, that's what it's talking about. Tone that I can't into a how can I, because your focus is... Dude, it's that focus is finite stuff that we mentioned. You just wasting, like you burning gas trying to worry about that you can't do something instead of trying to pose the question to yourself on how you can shift it around and, how you can finesse it to make it happen.
Dude, I'm fixing to blow your mind with a saying. And I love this saying. Worry is the misuse of a good imagination.
Dude. Hit that again.
Worry is the misuse
Yeah.
of a good imagination.
I like that.
If you're sitting around worrying about things that could happen or is going to happen, you're using your imagination to worry about things to come that haven't happened yet, right?
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on what you could do right now to change that. And some people don't see a way out and all they see is doom and gloom, and that's because they in it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But if you do a self-assessment, write down everything right now in your control and everything, and then write down everything and then mark out anything that's outside of your control. And then what's left, you start attacking that. It will get better. I promise. It will get better. I done something recently that caused a lot of hiccup and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn it, I misstep, right?
Yeah.
And when that misstep happens, I could dwell on it and go, shit, man, this done this and this. It hurt me this way and that way, or I hurt this and this way. Or
But what good does that do?
none.
It does.
Or I can say, oh, well, that shit happened. I'll try to do better next time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And move on.
Yeah.
You can't sit around and dwell on something because that doesn't fix anything. I can't sit around and pretend like, oh man, oh man, it doesn't help. It doesn't help you get where you want to be or what you want to do. And I think that's like an uncanny ability that I have, is like going to understand that every human on the planet, they fuck up.
Yes.
Like, I don't get mad. I run a crew, like a job.
Yeah.
I would never get mad when people would fuck up. And I'm like, that's your one, you know, like it happens.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't mess up in the same way, they can mess up some other place.
Yeah.
But as long as they don't mess up in the same way, it's like we can get past it. But now if they mess up in the same way again, they're like, now we got a problem. You're not learning.
Yes.
But if they mess up in another way, in a completely different way, it's like, cool. Now we got to talk about it. Now we got to say what happened, assess the situation, and then move on. Accidents happen. Shit happens. It's okay. And I think that if you're a good leader, you understand that people are human and people say and do things that necessarily isn't things that they should have done. They did it out of emotion. They done it out of hell, accident, or they, you know, like maybe they just having a rough day. Like, stuff happens, and humans deserve to be forgiven.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is if I did something to you, you would forgive me pretty quick.
Yeah.
We're friends.
Yeah.
You would forgive me pretty quick. But if you did something to me and you felt bad about it, how fast would you forgive yourself?
Dude, it would take a lot.
Why are you treating yourself worse than you would treat your friend?
Yeah.
And that's what I try to really tell myself every day. I set like self-assurance.
Yeah.
Try to tell myself every day that I wouldn't treat my friend that way. Why am I talking to myself that way?
Yeah.
I would not say the things that I'm saying to myself to the people that are around me ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very hard on myself. I demand perfection.
Yes.
I demand me to be perfect. Like earlier, you found an extra 0 on my bit thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I'm so stupid. I would never tell you if you accidentally put an extra 0 that you were fucking stupid.
But you've been dwelling on that for 2 days. Like,
right.
Yeah.
But not really. But I keep using it as an example because to me, on myself, I'm like, damn it. And I'm just laughing at myself because I made that mistake. But to me, I felt it because I'm like, man, that was so stupid. And like, that's why my shit wasn't hitting. That's why I was skipping and looking stupid and all this other stuff, is because I accidentally put an extra 0 there.
Yeah.
And you come in and it's like, oh, there's an extra 0. And I'm like, God dang it, dumbass. Like, started talking bad to myself. And then I had to go, wait a minute.
Wait.
Like, it was just an extra 0. Hell, you could touch my keypad and it repeats fast because I game from my keyboard.
Yeah.
It repeats pretty quick. So it's a mistake that anybody could have had. And if you would have done it, I would have been like, oh, we just put an extra 0 here. Look,
let's
easy fix.
Yeah.
Done. No problem. But if I done it, it's like, oh my God, I made a mistake. I'm the worst human being on the planet. And then I dwell on it for weeks until I make myself sad. And I had to learn to stop doing that shit.
Yeah.
I had to learn to let it go.
You do.
And jiu-jitsu has helped me recognize all of this. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but a lot of places don't teach life lessons.
They don't.
A lot of places don't teach that. A lot of places are still doing this, do as I say, because I said so, instead of giving people the understanding that they need to be self-efficient, to get to where they need, and to understand that they do deserve forgiveness, and they don't have to be perfect, and that when you fuck up, say, hey, I fucked up, or hey, I messed up, and then fix it and move on.
Yeah.
And the sooner you could do that, the more successful you'll become. And that's my rant for today. But,
well, that goes back to the whole jiu-jitsu helping your life. that we started with way well ago. But dude, like, can't, like in jujitsu, like you can't dwell on it. Like you cannot, because like if I mess up, I put my post in the wrong spot, or, you do all this stuff, and you sweep me, and I'm like, okay, now what do? I got to address the new situation, because that's gone, it happened, whatever. But like, it's so funny that in our life we dwell on that junk for weeks, but like in something like jiu-jitsu, it's like, okay, it's over, new stuff, new time, new
Dude,
go.
if you do dwell on it, then you're gonna get tapped out, and then you're gonna be dwelling on that instead of the sweep.
It's just a perpetual negative thing. Like you cannot do it, and that's the thing. It's just one of those lessons that you would never know if you didn't step on a mat.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about like my journey that I've been on recently. Is like, I want everyone to understand that I am not fucking perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect. And when stuff happens, it happens, and it's like, let's talk about it. We're human. Let's do whatever and move on. And if you can't do that, then you're the one with a problem, not me.
Yeah.
And if you got a problem, like, I can't make you see things or do things or act any kind of way. You have to choose to.
Yeah, dude, that's we was talking about that sometime, one of the conversations we had. But you can't make anybody happy, but you can't make anybody feel anything. Like, it's on you. Like, at the end of the day, whether you want to accept that, whether you want to argue with me, whatever, like, you can't face the fact that your mind state, your situation, it's on you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I think that the more some people, I know this. I know.
Yeah.
That some people get stuck wherever they are in whatever season they're in of their life.
Yeah.
And they stay there forever, and they never grow out of it. And then the same things, the same lesson keeps coming back to them, and back to them, and back to them, and back to them. Mm-hmm. And that it's the same cycle because they haven't learned the lesson yet.
Yeah.
And they're just stuck there in that part of their life, and they can never break through or get through. And it's because they haven't learned how to navigate it, or they haven't learned the lesson that they were intended to learn from it.
Yeah. That goes kind of back to the ego thing, and it's the whole idea of sacrificing who you can be just to keep who you are now, to keep that ego that you have now. You don't want to put yourself in that uncomfortable growth process to get to where you can be, to your potential that you have, because you have to sacrifice where you're at. And a lot of people, they don't want to do it. They don't even want to try. They don't even want to try.
It's too hard. Yeah. Self-work is too hard. And that's something that we was talking about earlier, is that self-work. You go through that first cycle where it's hard, and you feel dumb, and you tired, and then you start getting depressed because you see all these areas where you're doing bad or you're not doing good enough, and your focus is on what you're trying to do to make yourself better. Yeah. And then you're like just beating yourself up. Now you're depressed, and you've never been depressed, but when you started this self-growth, you're depressing yourself because you realize all the shit that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, that you can't change overnight.
Yeah.
And here's what I would say to you. Guys, it is daily work. It's just like going to the gym. It's just like your diet. Your diet does not just consist of food. I don't know why everybody thinks of diet and they automatically think of food. Your diet is everything that you read. Yeah. Your diet is every person that you put around you. It's the things that you're hearing. It's the things that's going inside of your mind right now is your diet, along with the things that you're putting in your belly. So here's what I would say to you. Whatever lifestyle changes that you want to make them. And then decide that you're doing it forever. Yeah. You're not doing a fad diet. You're not going to go to the gym and get your beach body. Because if it's just for the summer, if you just want to look good for the summer, you're going to get in really good shape. You're going to suffer, because you're going to try to kill it and get there ready for summer. Then during the summer, you're going to look good. But right after that, you're going to fall off the wagon. Summer's over, and you're going to backtrack and go right to where he was. When you decide to make that change, make it a lifetime change.
Yeah.
And if you make it a lifetime change in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, however many years, you will see all of the benefits from the decisions that you are making right now. You just have to decide to do it and do it.
Dude, one of my favorite things is like you have to accept the fact that you're never gonna be done. Like, apply it wherever you want to apply it, but just accept the fact that you're never gonna be done. You may switch, but dude, there's never a time when you should just be done. Like, there's always something, there's always improvement, there's always new stuff, new skills, new growth you can do, and dude, like when you put the timeline on it like that summer, like that means you're done. But you say no, it's a lifelong lifestyle. You're not done.
That's right. You're not done. You're never done. I like that. I like that a lot, man.
And it's easy to say, and it sounds like it doesn't make sense, but really thinking about accepting that you're never gonna be done. Like, you have to be okay with that. Like, it takes a minute.
Dude, it's so cool to think about. And it's cool to think, though, like, I just like heard you say that, and it's like, okay, now I have something else to think about. And now it's like, all right, well, the way I looked at it is you have to make decisions for a lifetime. I want to do this. Like, I want to be in shape the rest of my life. I want to be 70 years old and be able to throw a baseball or do jujitsu with my grandkids.
Yeah.
I want my grandkid, like, while his mom and dad are working, to hang out with me and go, race go-karts or come do jujitsu, come do wrestling. I'm going to take him to his wrestling tournaments and to his practices and all that stuff. Like, when I'm 70, I want to be in shape so that I can still do those things with my grandkids. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm sitting around eating Cheetos, drinking 2 liters during the day, in 5 years, I won't be able to walk to the friggin' mailbox.
Yeah.
So it's decisions that I'm making daily. And the diet thing is like, I want to be smart enough so that I don't have to work in my 70s.
Yeah.
My papa was 84 years old when he died.
Yeah.
He worked. He drove a big truck and raced a race car till 3 weeks before he died. He literally, he banged his head on the mirror getting into the truck. It gave him an aneurysm. He died 2 weeks later.
Really?
Like, yeah. But that man worked up until the day he passed away.
Yeah.
And I loved him. He was one of the best men I ever known. He was one of the first examples as a man that I ever seen in my life. Like, I didn't have very good examples in my life. And he worked. And he was a man. But I don't want to be 84 years old still having to go to work to take care of my kids and my house and my grandkids because I'm the only one that is capable of it, or I had all these bills or whatever. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I legit want to be financially free within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
To the point that I have more gyms and more people that can manage and run and have other things. And I want to have other people on that level with me that started under me.
Yeah.
I want to build people up. Like, I want you, because you're a tech guru. You're like, my logo that's in the middle of this freaking screen is amazing. I want you to be able to edit the channels to the point that when we start gaining traction, that you can teach someone else to edit. You can build your channel off of this channel.
Yeah.
Then they can build their channel off of that channel. And then we can all collaborate and all eat together.
Yeah. We building a table.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
And I want that. And that's my goal. And I'm speaking it into existence. That's what I want. And that's why when people are on my team and they're really on my team, like, I'll give them the last whatever I have because I feel like we're in this together. But the moment that I start feeling like I'm not receiving a return or whatever, I start questioning in my mind. It's like, all right, are they helping me build the table, or are they stealing off the table? And then that's that negative thought process, right? So the moment somebody starts making me feel that way, I have two choices. I can have a talk with them like an adult. Say, hey, man, you grabbed that chicken off my table, man, and look, there was only whatever. We need to feed Taylor too, or whatever. Or I can say, all right, this person doesn't really want to build an empire with me. They don't need to be on my team. And then I stop trying.
Yeah.
And I don't go cut the bridge or scream and yell at them or whatever. I just don't start including them in my plans.
Yeah, you just fade them out.
Yeah, and if they're not just sitting there and they don't try to do better, then they just fall to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
They stay on the mountain wherever they got off my wagon at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is why I have become as successful in Eastman as I have.
Yeah.
And you've been to a lot of gyms.
Yeah.
How many of them you seen like mine, honestly, with the culture and stuff that I have?
Dude, just off the top of my head, like maybe one or two more.
One or two. That blows my mind because think of how many gyms there are. Think about how many you've been to.
Just the ones I've been to, man. It's unreal, dude. It's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
And to think that way and to put that into perspective, man, we talked about a while ago how like vitally important the culture is.
Yeah.
And dude, like it's not there. Like it's not everywhere like it is here, like it is at a handful of places. I mean, they exist,
Yeah.
but dude, it's crazy.
Dude, for me, the culture, like we wrote down our 5 culture values and our core values, not culture, but 5 core values.
Yeah.
And we put them up. And that's what I want. I want my team members and the people on me to be constant pursuit of happiness. I want them to expect a good future, good and bright future. I want them to pull the trigger and make everything, I want them to leave everything on the table.
Yeah.
Like go for it, get after it. And I want them to be their own legend.
Yeah.
And what I mean by be their own legend, you ever heard Joe Rogan say, imagine that you had a film crew. Have you heard that saying?
Maybe, but
all right,
I'll just tell you, and let them know.
Yeah. So you wake up in the morning and there's a guy with a camera, with a freaking $10,000 camera in your face.
Yeah.
And they're gonna record you with your normal everyday, and they're just looking at you with this camera, and they're following you around all day long until you go back to bed.
Yeah.
And they're just wanting to record your day to show the world how you started and like your biography to where you're going to go. Now, if you got that going down, how much more work, how much more focused, and how hard are you going to work during the day? How much harder are you going to work during the day than you would with nobody following you around and nobody paying attention and nobody really looking at you?
To answer your question, it like astronomically more.
Right.
But to pose another counter argument, like when is there nobody looking at you?
But people don't think about that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. When it's right there in your face,
you have to see it.
You work twice as hard because you go, oh man, all these people in YouTube land is watching me and I got to be successful. I got to act like I even got to fake it till I make it or whatever, which I hate that saying, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing. But it's not a bad thing to fake it till you make it. I've even said it myself before, but I'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, you're working hard. You work harder because you're focused. And guess what happens when you get focused? You become successful. You succeed in whatever you're focused on. If you're focused on mean asshole people, you're going to see mean asshole people. If you're focused on kind, happy, loving people, you're going to find happy, kind, loving people. You attract what you're focused on because you're looking for that shit.
Yeah.
Now, you get up in the morning, you're looking for success. You're focused on success because that camera's in your face. You're going to do it.
Do it.
And you're going to do it twice as hard. You're going to work twice as hard. You're going to do more because they're looking at you with a camera. And I love that because if you woke up every morning with a camera in your face, you wouldn't leave anything on the table. You would pull the trigger and you would become your own legend.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of happiness found in failure. And what I mean by that, let's say you want to be the next UFC champion or whatever you want to do. Like, I don't fuck that guy, but like if you want to be the next UFC champion, right? You want to be him and you go out there and you make it to the UFC and then you lose 5 matches. You lose 2, you win 1, then you lose 3, and you get cut.
Yeah.
So that means you won 1 fight. You're 1-5 in the UFC.
Yeah.
Right?
With some of the best on the planet.
You're 1-5.
Yeah.
How proud of that are you? Wait till you're 50. You're 50 years old and you was 1-5 in the UFC. Like, yeah, I lost 5 times in the UFC. Did you even make it to the UFC? How proud of that 1-5 record of even being able to fight in the UFC when you're older will you be? In the moment, the failure sucks.
Yeah.
But that failure becomes, it's like, nah, when you say I could have been the UFC champ and you never even tried,
Yeah.
you're a liar. You could have been, but the world would never know.
Never know.
So you didn't pull the trigger. You wasn't your own legend. You didn't try hard enough, so you never know. You get to live with that regret. But if you try and you fail, you can say, man, I really tried. And there's a lot of happiness to be found in that failure.
I like that, dude. I really like that analogy. I read something the other day that made me think of it. Do you know the story of Icarus, the mythological?
Yeah, the fire.
Flew into the sun.
Yeah.
Okay. What
Does the world out there know? Maybe we should tell them the story.
Maybe so. Yeah. So like, you hear it all the time, and it's kind of popular. But the myth of Icarus or whatever, he had wings made out of wax, and his dad. The part of the story that everybody tells you is that his father warned him. He's like, "Hey, don't get too high. You fly too close to the sun, you're born to death. Your sun will melt your wings." And everybody uses it as a be humble. Stay where do like you're supposed to. Don't get high and mighty. Don't fly too close to the sun. But nobody talks about the second half of the myth or the second half of the story. He also said, don't fly too close to the ground. He said you'll get, it'll suck you in and you'll get basically swallowed up by the sea or whatever. Like, I don't remember exactly how it went, but what he was saying is, you got to find that spot because the dude that was breaking it down was like, it's the greatest tragedy isn't that people aim too high and miss, it's that they aim too low and hit it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you think about it, because most people, like most of us, we're not gonna be too arrogant or too brash. That's kind of nature in most people, right? But dude, how many people do you know that are just wasting potential because they hit exactly where they're aiming at?
A lot. And that's funny. I've never heard the second part of the Icarus. I want to look it up.
Nobody has. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I want to look it up.
Yeah, everybody. Obviously, it has value on the other part of the story, and that's what it's known for. But dude, the don't fly too close to the sea is just as much a game changer as the second.
Yeah, dude, it's true. Live to your full potential.
Yeah.
Leave the shit out there.
Yeah,
leave it out there, and pull the trigger. That's our fourth value. That's literally our fourth core value is make it happen. Pull the trigger. It's like that's it. Pull the trigger. Like make it happen. Do it.
Make it happen.
Yeah, and I really like that. It reminded me of just you was talking about a quote that everybody misquotes.
Yeah.
I hear it's a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Do you know the rest of the quote?
But it's still better than a master of one.
Yes.
Nobody
knows
the
other half of that either. And because I used to use it to degrade myself because I'm very self-degrading and I have to be perfect and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say I'm a jack of all trades. I'm a master of none. I'm good at everything I do, but I'm not a master at anything. And it's because I know how to do so many things. I'm not a master.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned the rest of the quote, and I'm like, well, damn, I'm the man. So, like, then my ego swole up. And now I had to talk to Taylor to get her to, puff me back down. I'm just kidding. Let some air out of my head. No, I'm just kidding. But
she don't mind,
dude. You do like those animations,
Yeah.
and you do like YouTube channels for the college, and
Yeah.
but your passion seems to be like jujitsu live events and like being a part of those things. I know you're gonna come here and help me with the SMI.
Yeah.
You're doing another one. It's our friend Jay Edwards.
Yeah.
What's his event called?
That sounds bad. I built so much stuff for it, but I got to look it up.
Yeah, so our buddy.
I don't want to misquote it. Is why I'm looking it up.
No, that's
but,
fine. Yeah, our buddy's putting that thing on.
South Georgia Submissions. It's the first annual South Georgia Submissions Championship.
And it's going to be awesome. There's a lot of one-off grappling matches on there.
Super fights.
There's some super fights. We got some really good talent and stuff. We're going to be live streaming it that Sunday from one of the YouTube channels. I don't know which one.
We haven't figured that out yet, but it's going to be there. We'll share a link. It'll be free on YouTube, public. Viewing.
I'll share the link on the Tech Talk page, whichever one we use or they use. It's going to be very entertaining and stuff like that. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about. What got you into doing like live streams, these things? Like, dude, that logo, like, guys, this man built my logo sitting on my couch in like 10 minutes. I just was like, I want y'all to understand something. Can y'all see my face? Can they see my face?
Yeah.
Listen, I said, hey, the name of my tournament is Strange Matter Invitational. He was like, Strange Matter Invitational. What's that? What's Strange Matter? And I said, it's the most dangerous, thing in the world. It's like quark matter. It's the most dangerous thing in the entire known universe. And because if it touches it, it's taken over. Like anything, the smallest picogram touches it, it's taken over.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love it, but it's like an atom pretty much. And that's all I said to him. It's like an atom. And he went, oh, cool. And I was like, he's like, you got any ideas? And I told him, I was like, I don't know. I want something like lightning inside of it or something moving maybe. I don't know. I just want it to like look like an atom, but not be a traditional atom.
Mm-hmm.
This man sat there, said, move the mouse around a little bit. This is what he come up with. I was like, God dang. Just imagine if he put half a brain cell towards actually doing, like, spend a week or so doing it. Man, that thing is, like, I loved it. And then he done the one, this is the one for my new logo. The Tech Center ones for the Tech Center logo. We got one for the podcast. It's going to be Tech Talk. We haven't even done that one yet.
Yeah.
And then we have the SMI one, which is basically that with SMI behind it. But we're going to link them all together. And, like, dude, he's so good. It blew my mind at how good and how quick he done this stuff. And, like, he just went on the computer and was like, yeah, this is why you're lagging. You put extra 0 there, you fucking idiot. And he just, like, took the 0 out. Changed my parameters so that I'm streaming 1080 60 instead of 4K because I don't need 4K. And like just changed some stuff around and like spent the day helping me with my ads. And he's like editing this shit and coming up with ideas. And these are the type of people you need to surround yourself around. People that help you and lift you up and that have that energy that just makes you want to do more. Like I want to wake up tomorrow and like take over the world. Not really, but I'm not Hitler. But anyway, dude, I appreciate you,
dude.
And
yeah,
I interrupt you. Like, what got you into all that stuff?
Man, I just kind of fell into it. To be honest with you, like it was something that. A couple of years ago, I found myself at a place and they was like, here, can you do this? Can you run a camera? And I was like, I have no knowledge of how to do this. And they was like, just do the best you can. We need you now. And I was like, okay. So, so I started it a little bit and I was like, dude, I really I love it. I've always been pretty good with that, editing and stuff like that. And so I got into that and photography as a side gig, or not even a side gig, just a hobby. And dude, I really just, through some jiu-jitsu people that I know and through, all the crazy stuff that happened, 2019, fell into this job doing, because, everybody needed video people, when everything was shut down. So I fell into this job and dude just fell in love with it. And my whole thing is, if I'm going to do it, dude, I'm going to do it as good as I can do it, but I'm always going to try to better it. Like I talked about, you're never done. Like if I wake up in the morning and I put my mental effort and my energy into doing something, like I want to put at least some of it into learning how to do it better. And one of the things, like I've helped you, I'm doing that for Jay, and you see a lot of my stuff floating around. And one reason that I do all that, and I'm so even active, like I'll reach out and be like, what do you need for this thing that you got going on? Is because, dude, I believe, like good comes to those that do good. Like I believe you should do the most good of which you are able. And two, dude, like it gives you, like, dude, you just for the example of this logo right here, like this is not, Jimmy acts like I made this, in 5 minutes without no prior knowledge. But dude, this is not the first one I made. The other podcast may have seen the other one,
Yeah.
And dude, that was prototype, and through trial and error, and that became this, which is better, but
It's a lot better.
it's a lot better. But dude, like you told me, you was like, hey, I was like, hey, can I help you with this, whatever you got going on, this strange matter? And you was like, yeah, I need a logo that looks like an atom. And I'm like, I have never made a logo that looks like an atom, but you know what? We fixing to pull the trigger on it. And we did. And dude, like, that's like it's helping the community in a beneficial way, but dude, it's helping me in a selfish way too. Like I'm learning these skills that I would have, dude, in my daily life, I probably would have never made an atom. I may would have done something similar, but that specific thing may not have never been in my skill set. And that's kind of what I got to earlier with that learning. Like, dude, I always have a list of stuff that I'm like, I need to learn about this, and I need to really, focus energy on this. And that's just kind of it, man. It just kind of happened. And I don't know how to explain it, but dude, I'm fortunate and I'm blessed enough to fall into a career path that I really love. And dude, it just helps me do my jujitsu stuff on the side, which I love even more. So that's kind of it.
That's awesome, dude. And y'all, I literally said, I want something to look like an atom. But you know what it turned into? I want you guys to really look at it. So I'm a 10th planet brown belt. I'm under Stephen Aiken. I've been training for 20 years. But I'm under Stephen Aiken. When I get my black belt, I'm highly considering turning my school 10th planet, right? That's going to be my 10th planet logo. That's going to be my moon right there. I'm telling y'all right now, that's going to be the moon. So it's an atom, but then it's going to be an atom it's going to be a strange matter. What is that thing called? A quark
matter.
Quark
that overtook the moon.
Yep. But the strange matter is going to touch the moon, and then it's going to turn the whole moon into strange matter, and that's going to be my moon. That's going to be my colors and my moon right there. And then it's going to be 10th Planet Eastman. It's coming.
Yeah.
And it's just, in 20 years when I become a black belt, I'll already have my moon ready.
And dude, that's just, I just thought about this now. I wasn't even thinking about it, but dude, like, that's just a lesson. Because if I would have never been like, hey Jimmy, how can I help you with this thing? Not toot my own horn, but just for people to look, and what can we do? I want to make it happen. I believe in this thing that you got going. What can we do? And dude, like none of this would have happened. We wouldn't have had this day that we had so much fun all weekend.
Yeah.
Just cutting the breeze would not have happened. And dude, like that's what I tell people, man. It's like you never get bad for doing good. Like it always, I mean, you may not see it. It may be minuscule, but it's never gonna be. You're never gonna be in a worse place in the long haul for that. So,
Dude, I appreciate it. Like, it was for me, like, period. Like, when you reached out and I was like, no, unless you can make an Atom logo, you know? And you was like, yeah, I got you. And then you done that. But another thing that he did is, like, he created a friggin' QR code. So, like, everybody that signed up for the SMI tournament, they just scanned it, put their name, weight, and, you know, their age and their school into it. And there it was. I had all the information. It was just a QR code. And I was like, cool, I could just share that. And then we just start getting entries through the QR code. And I'm like, man, I should have just called Nate like 6 months ago and had all this stuff organized. But I'm a firm believer in God does not bless you with things. He blesses you with people. I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. And sometimes it takes a little bit to figure that out, or to figure out, you know, what reason God put people in their lives for and stuff. What God put certain people in your life for. And I'm also a firm believer. Some people are going to be upset about this. I believe that God puts people in your life to show you how not to be.
We spoke about that a little earlier today. I do the same way, man. Like, dude, there's so much value in learning what not to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, like, if you really apply yourself and think and like give some thought to it, dude, it's some of the best lessons that, if you really want to internalize, are lessons not to do what so and so did. And that sounds bad, but you're just, you know, you're being wise because you're learning from their mistakes, man.
Chase and I joke about this all the time. It's like God put certain people on earth just to show you how not to act or whatever. It's like, I think God put people here to be fuck ups, so the rest of the world knows not to be fuck ups.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing to say in the way that I was saying it, but anyway, God don't bless you with things; He blesses you with people. Whether to learn from them,
yeah,
in a good way, or learn what not to do. Because I used to tell people all the time, I don't take advice from somebody that's not where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how I said it all the time. I don't take advice from people who's not where I want to be. But then I thought about it, and that's not necessarily always true, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I know exactly what not to do because of watch someone else do it or watch someone else mess up. So it's like, now the lesson is try to do the things that the people that are where you are, where you want to be, try to do those things that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then try to look at the people who's not where you are and know not to do that. So you can learn something from people that aren't where you want to be. And that's what you shouldn't be doing.
You can almost do the opposite of what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how long we've been on this thing, man.
I don't know, man.
It don't matter. I enjoy it, and I make them long. I got one that I recorded with David and Wade that was like 4 or 5 hours long.
Dang.
I haven't even posted them. I'm probably not, because I started a new season.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. I enjoy it, and I think people enjoy listening when they're riding. But, dude, this right here is my... what do you call it? You know how, like, I tell people to do jujitsu to get out of their everyday stress and get out of there. This is my outlet.
This is your outlet.
Yeah. So jujitsu used to be my outlet, but then it become my full-time job.
Yeah.
So now this and the Coach Jimmy is my outlet. This is like my hobby, and this is the thing outside of my normal that I'm trying to learn how to do.
Yeah.
And you helped me a lot with that. So I appreciate it, man.
Dude,
I appreciate what you've done.
Dude, anytime, man. I believe in you in this place, and dude, it's every time you walk in these doors, man, it's sweet. It's a good place, a good experience. So we're gonna make it happen.
Heck yeah.
And before we go, like, you know, Coach Jimmy hit on it a lot, but we have basically like just we set up this whole situation. So if you live now or if you look at it later on or whatever, just drop us a comment and tell us if it's better, if it played better, if it if sounded better, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, give us your thoughts on it. We welcome that because we did some tuning. This is kind of like, it's not a test, but it is a test in a way.
Yeah, it was the test run. We was like, well, let's just do a podcast and run it, bro.
Pull the trigger.
Send it. Yeah. And yeah, man, I appreciate you. And we got the SMI coming up.
Yeah.
So if you got somebody, the SMI is June 4th. If you got a kid that's a gangster that like wants to compete, 78 pounds and under, send them our way. 90 to 110. We only have one spot left that's not paid. They're all paid. So
Okay.
we only have one spot left in the in the 90 to 110. And then we got a few spots left in the teen division, which is like 18 to 15 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's under 140. I think right now the biggest kid that's in there is like 134 or maybe 135. But the smallest kid that's in there is like 121.
Okay.
So anyway, if you guys got some kids that want to compete and want to do a sub-only tournament where they don't have to worry about giving up points, where they actually get to practice their real jiu-jitsu and get some experience in that way, that eventually is going to turn into like a league of its own, guys, hit us up. Check out Tect Center on YouTube, Coach Jimmy _Tect. That's where I live stream all my Coach Jimmy information. If you have any jiu-jitsu questions that you want answered, hit me up. Ask the questions on Facebook. Ask them on Twitter. Ask them on Instagram. You can even ask them in the comments, and I'll respond to them in older videos. That's what I love to do. This is my hobby. Like, subscribe, and follow here. Like, subscribe, and follow Coach Jimmy _Tect. Guys, this really does help me out. I split the channels up for a reason. I feel like it's going to be two different audiences.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow two channels at one time, which is a big deal. It's kind of hard. Every like, subscribe, and follow helps us with the algorithm. Every comment helps. So you guys get in there and talk shit if you want to. It's cool. And most importantly, come train with us.
Yeah.
Guys, come check us out. It's a good place to train. Everybody here is just here to help you become a better person and reach your goals.
Heck yeah.
And that's Coach Jimmy and my boy Nate.
Yeah, man. We gonna head out. But yeah, like, follow, subscribe, and I'm telling you, come in this place. You will not leave. You will not leave Walston. You come in.
Hey, and let us know what you think about our logo.
Yeah, check it out. Like, share the logo. If you want one, let me know. Shameless plug, but hey.
Y'all, this man's not cheap, but damn if he won't hook you up and have your stuff right. He charges for what he does because he's worth it. It's a man.
I appreciate it, man. I do what I can. We'll help you out. We'll make it happen. So just let us know, and peace out.